Hurricane Michael ripped through the Florida Panhandle 6 years ago. Mayor Margo Anderson's book reveals what really happened in Lynn Haven. 600 pages with actual FBI investigation memos and much more. The foreword is written by Guy Lewis, a Fox News contributor who oversaw all federal prosecutors under Attorney General John Ashcroft nearly 20 years ago. He represented James Finch, the longtime contractor hit with bogus charges so absurd that 2 juries rejected them. It didn't take long for the second jury to return a not guilty verdict. Margo's book is a journey of legal treachery that will shock the conscience of every American. Order your copy today of Hurricane Michael, Storm of Corruption at Amazon.com. Or you can pick up a copy in Lynn Haven at Victoria's Last Bite. Oh, this is going to be hot. I got so much to tell you, and I'm going to do it fairly quickly. I'm not going to ramble on like I always do. I'm not going to tell story. No, I've got to get on it. Yeah. Can I just say that after the show I did where I told you about, remember I told you about Jared Moskowitz, the congressman? Is this him? Yeah. Remember I told you about he's now in Congress. Remember I told you about Jared Moskowitz and his ties to FEMA and how he was the Democrat that DeSantis appointed immediately to head up disaster relief in Florida, and how he was Chris Forehand's guy and Ashbrit, the national company that came in here, and according to the FBI, along with JC Contractors Derwin White, robbed the town blind. You remember that? The national hurricane debris company, Ashbrit, and JC Contractors Derwin White, according to Sheriff Ford's investigation and the FBI, they were more corrupt than New Jersey and New Orleans. They had all kinds of people involved in, let's just say there were a lot of hands in the FEMA cookie jar. And Jared Moskowitz is all over that. Now he's saying FEMA's got to be removed from being under the jurisdiction of Homeland Security, especially with the new administration coming in and Kristi Noem slated to head up Homeland Security. He says, don't look at the FEMA stuff. Anyway, ever since I did that show, all hell's broken loose. So I'm going to tell you about a bunch of stuff today. All those names on the little caption there, I'll tell you about it. This Thursday is going to be a fun day. I keep telling you about Margo Anderson, the mayor of Lynn Haven, who was framed by Sheriff Ford and the FBI. The whistleblowers, her and James Finch, how they were framed and how all 64 counts against her were dropped. And she tells all about it in her book. Well, she's going to be signing her book Thursday at 7 p.m. in Lynn Haven at Roberts Hall. And I want to make sure you know about it. I'll be there as well. She asked me to write part of a chapter, basically, about how you went from thinking, I did it, to what made you know I didn't do it, And so I wrote it and I sent it to her, 17 pages. And she said, I'm going to make this the prologue, sort of like the introductory chapter. So, yeah, I wrote the prologue and I'll be there, but she'll be signing books. There will be books it's going to be a great night. Again, Thursday, 7 p.m. in Lynn Haven at Roberts Hall, right next to Victoria's Last Bite. So that's happening. I do want to, because when I get into this, we're going to get into it. Tomorrow morning in Lynn Haven, there's a city commission meeting. And Vicky Gainer, who is the city manager and was an FBI informant. I know. Bernie, how do you know? How do you know she was? Oh, I'll show you. I was just a witness, not an informant. Tomato. Anyway, so She is slated to get, there's going to be a big vote. She's going to get a raise and a contract extension, I think, until what, 2027. They've got to keep Vicky Gainer as city manager. The mayor, the doctor of leadership, Jesse Nelson, who was installed after Sheriff Ford and the FBI removed the real mayor, Mayor Margo Anderson. Anyway, he's pushing it, and you know how it works. The Lynnhaven Commission, I bet Judy, oh, why am I forgetting her last name? Vandergrift. You know she'll be for it. She might twist the little skinny microphone like a chicken rooster head. Just, you know, I want to see if she gets angry during the meeting tomorrow. It'll be interesting to see what Commissioner Jamie Warwick does. That's the only person that I can see saying no to this, but they've got to keep Vicky Gainer in there because understand FEMA money, and there was a bunch of it stolen. Some of it was caught in Lynnhaven, but the people who did it got away. One got immunity. Well, the city engineer, Chris Forehand, was given immunity by the federal prosecutors for some crime that he committed nobody knows about, and Vicky Gainer keeps shoveling cash to him. Anyway, so this is all happening tomorrow, and they've got to keep her in there because Homeland Security, the president-elect, Donald Trump, is saying that he nominated Kristi Noem to head up Homeland Security. And that'll be quite a change from Mayorkas. Kash Patel is nominated to be the FBI director. And what I'm hearing today is that the U.S. senators, the Republicans who were going to vote no on Donald Trump's nominees, are having a change of heart from what I'm hearing. There's talk that all the nominees should get right through. If you ask me, it sounds a lot like President Trump has made an offer they can't refuse, the handful of U.S. senators who were going to vote no. That's what it sounds like to me, but it looks like it's going to be smooth, provided there's no world wars. And on that, I'm saying 8-5. I'm not sure which way. Some serious shit going on, okay? And I am seeing a lot of interesting things with Florida, a lot of FEMA money coming through Florida, with people who were in charge of FEMA money. Jimmy Patronis, for one. He was the CFO. He just resigned. Jimmy Patronis just resigned. And Matt Gaetz had something to say about it. That was Matt Gaetz's seat, the Congress, the House seat that is now vacant. And Jimmy Patronis wants that seat. And wait till you hear what Matt Gaetz said today about that. I'm going to play it all for you. But Jimmy Patronis had another role from 2019 to 2022. Those were pretty significant years when it comes to FEMA money. Jimmy Patronis was on the FEMA National Advisory Council, and he made some interesting votes. I'll tell you about them. But yeah, James Finch, who has been banned from Lynnhaven from getting any contracts, even though he's always done, and it's irrefutable, the best work at the lowest prices, and sometimes he even paid for it himself and let the city pay him back last payment when he's 95. And for that, Sheriff Ford and the FBI tried to put him away for life. Now, he's not real happy about how Vicky Gainer and Chris Forehand conspired to prevent him, who has the highest pre-approval amount from DOT loves Phoenix Construction, owned by James Finch, but that doesn't matter because Vicky Gainer and Chris Forehand had a plan, and they create a little carve out that prevents Phoenix Construction from ever getting another contract when it comes to the certain work. So James Finch, after being tried twice in front of a jury of his peers in federal court, and the feds have a 98, 99% conviction rate, twice the jury said, no, what are you talking about? Once they acquitted him. And so he has filed civil lawsuits, and he's written a letter to the Lynn Haven City Commission about this Vicky Gainer getting a raise and a contract extension when the election is in April. So why is the old commission going to be doing something that the new commission is going to have to live with for a long time? Well, he's got some thoughts about it. All of that I'm going to be sharing with you in just a moment. So let us do this. Let's thank a few sponsors so we can get rolling on this, and I can get all this to you because you're not going to believe it.
Hand caught in the cookie jar? Sometimes bad habits continue even into adulthood. I'm El Saline, 850-215-0628. Let me help you.
Don't let back pain and neck pain get you down. Find relief at Brown Chiropractic Center on St. Andrews Boulevard in Panama City. Dr. Sherry Brown helps people heal naturally with chiropractic adjustments and deep tissue massage. Call 769-3777. All right, so why don't we start in the order of the caption for the show. All right, so Jimmy Patronis resigned. He was the elected Chief Financial Officer of Florida, CFO, part of Governor DeSantis's cabinet. Now that Matt Gaetz resigned, he was the first nominee of Trump's for the Department of Justice, and he resigned, and he's got some big announcement tomorrow. And he's been hinting about this, and President Trump's been hinting about whatever this big announcement is tomorrow, and I'm excited to hear what it is. So Patronis also had his hand in FEMA dispersion, how the money was dispersed. I didn't say in the cookie jar. I just said how it was dispersed. But see, look, do I have the article? I do. There was an article in 2019. People don't really know. This stuff's kind of obscure. Oh, look at this. So this was on October 15th of 2019. Can you see this? Let me make it a little bit bigger. Jimmy Patronis appointed to FEMA National Advisory Council. All right, there we go. One of 15 appointments made to the council. CFO Jimmy Patronis has been named to the Federal Emergency Management Agency's National Advisory Council, his office announced Tuesday. The National Advisory Council is, quote, an advisory committee established by federal law to make sure it happens, guarantee effective and ongoing coordination of federal emergency management activities, according to his office's press release. Has FEMA been doing a good job at that stuff? Patronis said, as a fourth-generation Floridian, I know the importance of emergency preparedness and management to ensure the safety and success of all Floridians. I'm honored by this appointment. This was 2019, October, and look forward to advising FEMA on important disaster response and recovery issues, especially financial and insurance matters. And was part of his role as CFO, is to deal with insurance. Has insurance gotten better or worse since Jimmy Patronis has been CFO? Has FEMA gotten better or worse? He says, I'll continue to advocate for measures aimed at streamlining the reimbursement process of federal assistance to communities impacted by disasters, a vital part of the recovery process. He had a hand in it. Jared Moskowitz, who's now in Congress, had a hand in it. I think they're buddies. I think Moskowitz and Patronis are buddies. Is that right, Jimmy? I'm not positive about that, but I think you guys get along pretty good. I think you've had a lot of dealings. Not dealings, just acquaintances. Okay. Anyway, Patronis has resigned as the CFO. And Patronis goes on back in 2019, says, after seeing firsthand the devastating impacts of Hurricane Irma and Michael, I know that building relationships with our federal partners like Steve Sutherland in Washington is important to ensuring Florida is prepared to recover quickly from the next disaster that takes aim at the Sunshine State. And anyway, I don't want to go into all of this, but he was on the National Advisory Council. He was a voting member. It's hard to find the votes because, see, this FEMA Advisory Council, I think, has 35 members. They don't really tell you who voted for what. They do like voice votes. Sometimes they're unanimous, and then you can say, that must be how he voted. Like, for example, in case you didn't know, do you remember the Summer of Love in 2020? You remember all the DEI and all of the climate change, sustainability, and equity? You remember all that? Well, evidently, the weather, national, preparedness for hurricanes and disasters, climate change and equity and inclusiveness, and all of that was part of FEMA. Oh gosh, I've got to show you this. Holy smokes. I didn't think of this before the show. So I comment kind of a lot about national stuff on X, formerly known as Twitter. And I've kind of been going off there. I've been cussing. I've been speaking freely about issues of public concern, which is kind of weird because over the past 4 years, I've been walking on eggshells about talking about anything national. I mean, I didn't want to be, kicked off a platform like the president of the United States, that guy. Remember all that? So look at this, was yesterday. Remember, Homeland Security, DHS, they have jurisdiction over FEMA. And when Jimmy Patronis, when he was on the National Advisory Council, they would vote on policy, on what stances they take on these issues. And this is what I saw yesterday. You're not gonna believe this. And so there were unanimous votes when Jimmy Patronis was on the FEMA National Advisory Council about these types of things, like, DEI, inclusiveness, trans. Yeah. And they were unanimous, which leads me to believe that Jimmy Patronis voted for this stuff. It was very obscure. You were not supposed to ever know about it. But look, can't believe this is what I saw on X yesterday. Oh my goodness. This is crazy as hell. So I shared it. This is real. This is directly from the Homeland Security X page, Twitter page. It says, today on Pansexual and Panromantic Pride Day, which Jimmy Patronis voted on this kind of stuff, everyone deserves to feel seen, respected, and supported no matter who they love. Create a world where everyone feels proud to be themselves. Pansexual Pride Day. Happy Jimmy Patronis. I mean, what in the hell? I get it if that's what you do, but what's that have to do with Homeland Security? We'll have to ask Jimmy Patronis because he voted on this stuff. So anyway, do you want to see what Matt Gaetz had to say about it? I'll show you. So this was posted today. So what I'm seeing is, of course, the campaign managers for Jimmy Patronis, the Arthur Cullens of the world. You remember when Mark Sheldon was running against Stuart Tetimer, and Sheldon kept having all these endorsed by, but it didn't work enough? Well, that's what Jimmy Patronis is getting a lot now. Endorsed by this person, endorsed by Rick Scott, Marco Rubio, I think even Trump. And so Gaetz and Patronis, they have a little bit of a history. They don't really get along that well. And this was Gaetz's seat in Congress that Jimmy Patronis now wants. And so today, Matt Gaetz made this post on X, and I don't know what to make of it. I think he was asked to endorse Jimmy Patronis, but he couldn't get himself to do it. Matt Gaetz could not get himself to endorse Jimmy Patronis. And if you listen closely, it almost feels like the opposite. Listen to this.
Statewide elected official. His bosses ranged from Key West all the way up. Hey, everyone, it's Matt Gaetz. I know a lot of folks are paying attention to the race to replace me in Florida's 1st congressional district. And it looks like there's going to be really a lot of talent in that race. Here's what I just wanted to share as an observation. Jimmy Patronis just resigned as the chief financial officer of the state to come and seek this position. And this should validate the people of Florida's 1st District. Here's why. This guy was a statewide elected official.
This guy, listen how Matt Gaetz says this.
Here's why. This guy was a statewide elected official. His bosses ranged from Key West all the way up to Jacksonville.
Wait, what?
All the way to the end of Perdido Key.
What? His bosses? When Matt Gaetz says, here, listen again.
All the way up to Jacksonville, an elected official. His bosses ranged from Key West all the way up to Jacksonville, all the way to the end of Perdido Key.
His bosses? Now, I guess you could interpret that, Floridians, like the citizens, the residents, we're his boss. That's how I like to view it. You're a public servant. We're your boss, Jack. Maybe that's what Matt Gaetz is saying. But it feels to me like he's saying something else. Like his handlers? I don't know. Because this is kind of an interesting post by Matt Gaetz. Listen.
This guy was a statewide elected official. His bosses ranged from Key West all the way up to Jacksonville, all the way to the end of Perdido Key. And he is willing to trade a statewide elected position because Florida 1 is that special. You are so wonderful. A community made up of active duty military, veterans, patriotic Americans who love our country as we
Pensacola
should.
area.
And so I just think however the race goes, whoever ends up winning, I know the people of our district will produce a great member of Congress. But it is significant that someone wants to serve you so much that they would resign a statewide elected position. I don't know that that's ever happened. I don't know that anyone has ever done that to pursue a seat in Congress. And I think it says something about Florida 1 and how amazing you are. It was the honor of my life for 8 years to serve you in Congress and 6 years before that in the state legislature. I've got a big announcement coming tomorrow. And beyond that, we are so excited about what we're going to do.
Okay. So what is this big announcement? I don't know. But I bet Jimmy Patronis does. It was before the election. There was a big rally. Remember those Trump rallies where everybody left early and nobody ever went to? Remember those? There was this rally. And Matt Gaetz was there. And he was a congressman. And Trump, how he just says stuff. He looks over and he goes, "Hey, Matt and I have a big secret. We got a secret, don't we, Matt?" They're laughing. And then after Trump won the election, he appoints or he nominates Matt Gaetz to be the head of the Department of Justice, the Attorney General. But of course, he was too controversial for that job. And so he stepped down. He said, okay, this is causing pretty quickly too. This is causing, Matt Gaetz said, this is causing sort of a distraction, and I don't want to be a distraction to the president, so I'll step down from this nomination. Thank you very much, President Trump. And then President Trump nominates Pam Bondi. Now, there's been a lot of speculation about what Matt Gaetz is going to do. What's his role going to be in this new administration? Because most of us think he's going to have a role. And Matt Gaetz has been hinting for the past week that there's some big news coming, and it's going to come tomorrow. And I'm not going to guess what it is, but I'm looking forward to hearing what it is. So I just wanted to share all of that. It's pretty interesting. I've been seeing former CFO Jimmy Patronis posting a lot and talking about how pro-Trump he is and how MAGA he is. Oh, stop. I can hear everybody slapping their knees and Latin. I know he's not really MAGA. Jimmy Patronis. He's more of, well, everybody knows he's liberal, but he's more of an establishment guy, an insider, right? Because that's the way I view it anyway. I don't look at it as much as Republicans versus Democrats, although there's that, obviously. But I view it as the insiders against the outsiders. And we've been on the outside for a long time. And that's not somewhere Jimmy Patronis wants to be, or Pam Bondi, or Marco Rubio, or Rick Scott, or any of them, especially in Florida, where where billions of dollars of FEMA money has flowed through, and it's supposed to go to the people who need it most, under the jurisdiction of Homeland Security. But instead, we're learning that there were other considerations, partisan considerations. And now I find out that Jimmy Patronis was on the FEMA National Advisory Council, where there were unanimous votes for this type of stuff, which leads me to believe that Patronis voted aye. AYE. Yes. And so it's just weird. I know both of these guys. I'm not friends with either, but I know them. We know each other. And it's just weird. It's weird to see Patronis, the MAGA guy. But he has resigned, and he wants that seat. He's getting big endorsements. But there's more to the story. Anyway, that's that. Let's get to the James Finch story. Because tomorrow morning, Vicky Gainer, she's doing her hair tonight. She's pressing her best dress in the capital of the Hunger Games, and picking out her favorite pearl necklace. She'll clutch it once or twice, because tomorrow there's on the agenda a vote for her to get a raise, the city manager for Lynn Haven, and an extension. This commission, city commission in Lynn Haven, there are seats up for grab in April. But this commission wants to make sure that she stays there till through 2027. Now that's ticked off James Finch, because she was an FBI informant when everybody thought she was just a city manager. And she was always feeding info to Sheriff Ford and Chief Ricky Ramey, who never would have his hands in any FEMA money. And they were talking about all the corruption by James Finch and Margo Anderson and Bernie Thompson. Yeah, watch. I don't know if you know this, but I think it was in October or November of 2022, James Finch was heading into his second trial, because when you're James Finch, you got to get him twice, double jeopardy, really, in my opinion. So while this was going on, the prosecutors kept losing because they were lying. And they were asking Vicky Gainer, hey, do you guys have any more dirt on James Finch? And of course, the informant, Vicky Gainer, I couldn't believe when I saw this. Yeah, you see me? And if you don't think I look closely, I'm telling you, I'm all over it. So I saw this and I said, what the hell is going on? Is she really informing the FBI? Oh, yeah. Yeah, she is. Look, here's what she told them. This is called a 302. It is an FBI investigation memo. And in this, she's telling the FBI under oath. Now, if she lies, this is why Margo Anderson, the mayor, this is why she went to prison for a month, because the FBI said that she made a false statement. It did not say lie, a false statement that she met Mickey White 2 months after she really met him. And if you don't agree to that, we're going to re-indict you when you step outside the courthouse when you're found not guilty. That's what they threatened her with. Read the book. Watch the interviews. So she did what she had to do. based on information given to them by Vicky Gainer. And now she's telling the FBI here, it was September 30, 2022. Interview of Vicky Gainer by an FBI special agent. And in it, Vicky Gainer says, hey, FBI, let me tell you something. Judy Tinder's bad. The Beacon of Bay County, they're horrible. They're horrible. And that Christy McElroy, she's bad too. Oh, really? Let me write this down. What else do you know? What else do you know? Well, it says here, and I'm going to read this. Gainer heard rumors and believes that Bernie Thompson. Now this is what's crazy. I actually am in parentheses. I want you to notice this. Please look at this. My name is in parentheses. Finch's name is in parentheses. McElroy's name is not. Judy Tinder's name is not. The ladies of the Beacon of Bay County Facebook page do great reporting. Gap Parker and Jody Moore, their names are not. My name is in parentheses. What does that mean? That means that you can find my name elsewhere. Vicky Gainer lied to the FBI with impunity about me. And the FBI thought it was so significant that my name gets parentheses in a effing FBI investigation memo. Now, here's what the FBI did not do. The special agent did not do. They did not say, where did you hear this rumor? Arthur Cullen? I don't know. He didn't ask that question. In a real FBI investigation memo, they ask follow-up questions. When they don't want to know, when they're writing the narrative and making her say things, which is my guess, but however you do it, that happened. Thompson uses his media presence. This is in an FBI memo. Thompson uses his media presence to support Finch and Anderson and to attack Gainer and Ramey. No, and she lied a lot to the feds. You want examples? I was in the courtroom. I saw her tell the judge under oath on the witness stand. This was the doozy. There were a bunch. This was the doozy. I'm so pissed off right now. I can't even tell you. When she said that, she said somebody, it might have been Vicky, it might have been Judy Tinder. She wasn't really close to James Finch until all this happened. And then she always voted for Finch. She didn't vote for James Finch to get contracts until her good friend, Margot Anderson, was caught being corrupt. And then she started voting for Finch all the time. That's what she said under oath to the judge. And what's interesting is Vicky Gainer is the one who records the votes. She calls for the votes. And when defense attorney, I think it was Guy Lewis or Rob Vazinas, one of them, stood up and said, will you say that? Yeah, they always vote. She always voted no on Finch and then only voted yes. They looked at every single vote that Vicky Gainer ever made. In fact, every single vote that every single commissioner ever made in a Finch contract where staff recommended Finch, Phoenix Construction, because he was the lowest bidder. There's a process. Every single vote was unanimous. Nobody, not Vicky Gainer, nobody. When staff recommended and he had the lowest vote based on his stellar work for decades, it was a unanimous vote. So she was caught on the witness stand in a lie, and the feds defended her because they created a lie and a fake narrative. Now, it's really hard to watch all of this when you realize that all 64 counts against Mayor Margo Anderson were dropped because they were utter and complete bullshit. And they put her in prison for a month for getting a date wrong about when she met. Do you know when they asked her? Do you know when the FBI asked her the question, when did you ever meet Mickey White? Do you know when they asked her that? Oh, about 9 hours or so, 11 hours before they arrested her. She was arrested on August 19th in the morning by the FBI. And the night before, late at night, in her home, 2 FBI agents showed up and asked her a bunch of questions, and she thought she was the whistleblower helping them out. Is that some shit? And tomorrow, Vicky Gainer is going to get a contract extension because they need her in there. Ricky Ramey and all, Jesse Nelson, they need her in there. And a raise. Is that crazy? All right, so let me show you. I want to read to you the letter that James Finch has submitted to the commission right after this.
You want to look good? You want to feel good? Little John's Big and Tall is where it's at. Right across the street from Sky's Pizza Pie, 5700 North Davis Highway. You can find out more online at littlejohnsbigandtall.com. He's also a member of the iTex trading community, where your iTex dollars are welcome.
I mean, this is really wild, isn't it? If you want to make sure that you never miss one of these shows, you want to catch every show, you want to see all the posts about this stuff, my suggestion is that you subscribe to my weekly newsletter every Friday. I will send it out, and you don't even need Facebook. You can just click the buttons and watch the shows. And you can do that at Substack. Let me show it to you real quick because it is certainly worth having if you don't want to miss this information. And if I say it, I show it. Where is it? Okay, here we go. Right here. Right here. All you do is go to bernie.substack.com. Bernie.substack.com. It is free. It takes 20 seconds. Put your email in there. Every Friday, I will send you the week's shows, and you'll have it all in one email. You can get a paid subscription and get the behind-the-scenes videos, which are great, actually. But there's that. Okay, let's get to Finch's letter. I'm not going to put it on the screen, but I'm going to read you the one-page letter that James Finch wrote today. All right. To the Lynn Haven Mayor and City Commission, I believe Vicky Gainer is requesting a new contract for her services with the city. My understanding is that the mayor is advocating for this to happen. Vicky Gainer did not have the qualifications for the city manager's position when she was given the job by a prior commission. She has proven during her time with the city to not be capable of performing the city manager's duties in a way that benefits the city of Lynn Haven. She hasn't managed more than a household budget prior to coming to the city, yet you have entrusted her with the city's multi-million-dollar finances, says James Finch. She could never have gotten a city manager's job anywhere in America with the resume that she had. He says, I have a civil lawsuit against the city. Even though I love Lynn Haven and have wholeheartedly supported it my entire life, I will prove, he says, in this lawsuit that Vicky Gainer is a liar and complicit in the $4.9 million that was stolen from the city, he says. I am aware that the city is defending other lawsuits besides mine that can be traced directly back to Vicky's actions as a source. The right thing to do, he tells the commission that's meeting tomorrow morning, is to wait and see how she testifies in these depositions and how these lawsuits turn out. The city's depositions will start very soon and will include all of you, as well as Vicky Gainer, several city department heads and employees, both past and present. It will be an education for you to hear what is said when they're under oath. The city engineer that received immunity for his actions during the Lynn Haven corruption will be deposed, along with his employees. There is no competition for Vicky Gainer's services. There's no threat that she's going to go to Chicago or New York or even Mexico Beach. Her compensation has more than doubled since she got the position about what, 4 years ago? 5 years ago, something like that. And the city continues to bid against itself for her continued employment. This is a financially irresponsible way for the commission to act. Do you agree? I would think you would include in the new contract, if given a clause that would say that if she's complicit in any of this, she walks away without a golden parachute and settles for a swift kick in the ass, says James Finch. I'm just reading the letter. She should agree with this if she's right. And if she's proven right, I'll kiss her ass. I'll kiss your ass woodpecker style, says James Finch. If you guys are right, I think James would do it. I think if they're right, what I've seen of him, he takes ownership. And what he does not tolerate is the persecution that he's faced more than anybody I've ever seen, with the exception of the other whistleblower, Mayor Margo Anderson. I look forward to an election in April comparable to Donald Trump's. Sincerely, James Finch. Whew. All right, I wanted to share that with you. That'll be, I don't know if somebody should read that tomorrow. I know they got it, so I wanted to share that with you. I think I've covered all the bases. Lots of stuff. Oh, Parker. I almost forgot to tell you about the latest about Parker, the crash. So if you've been following the story, probably about it was November 6th, I think. There was a car crash caused by an 18-year-old young lady. And this young lady fled the scene of the crash. And the victim, the car that was struck, is a resident of Florida, a lady. And she's having a hell of a time with the Parker police, because the Parker police are saying that the young lady did not flee the scene of the crash, that she was chased by a witness. A witness chased her, and she could not stop at the scene of the crime. Evidently, that prevented her from calling 911 as well, because she didn't do that either, the young lady. Instead, a good citizen, a resident, followed her, did not chase her, and saw her park in a parking lot in front of Planet Fitness, which evidently is where she was heading anyway. That's my guess. So the Parker police did not cite her for fleeing the scene, even though there were several witnesses on body cam, and several witness reports that were written, but they don't exist. Not anymore. Now, what's the deal here? Huh? The 18-year-old young lady is is Sheriff Ford's Explorer Cadet of the Year. 6 months ago, she was on stage with him. Thin blue line, baby. Even for someone who's on her way to trooper school. So I called the chief of police, Dennis Hutto, and had a long talk. He's very nice and well respected, and a lot of people like him very much. And I asked him, I also talked to the mayor, by the way. And I talked to the mayor, but he wasn't there, so it was a nice conversation with Mayor Andrew Kelly as well. His election is in April. I don't know if he's running again or not. But I asked Police Chief Hutto, because the person who turned in the paperwork to the court was a young officer, Officer Dickinson. And Officer Dickinson turned in a citation to the court. And in the citation, it says that the young driver ran a stop sign. There's no stop signs. Nothing. In this citation submitted to the court by Officer Dickinson. Officer Dickinson checked boxes that said there was no crash, there was no property damage. The property damage was extensive, somewhere like 20 grand to the lady's car, and no injuries. The driver, the victim, did go to the emergency room with typical crash type injuries, concussion, dizziness, pain in her knee, all kinds of stuff, the regular stuff, I think. She was going about 40 when, according to the police report, she was going like 46. Officer Dickinson said she was going 46. Speed limit was 45, but Officer Dickinson said she was going over the speed limit. So pretty serious crash. So I'm talking to Chief Dennis Hutto, and Chief Dennis Hutto said, Bernie, you got a few things wrong. And I said, I got a pen. I'm ready to go. And he said, you keep saying that we got a grant recently and we got brand new body badge cameras and that we are required to have them on all the time. And that's just not true. And I said, oh, geez, let me report the facts, Chief. I thought that was, why did I say that? I'm not going to give away my source. Forgive me. You either trust me or you don't. But somebody who should know told me that was so. That's all I'm going to say. But if I'm wrong, I don't have any problem telling you I'm wrong. I was wrong. And that's the bottom line. So they did not recently get a grant, and their body cameras are old. Now, the body camera video after 3 weeks was finally given to the victim of the crash by the Parker police. The body camera was on young Officer Dickinson, who has since resigned. Chief Hutto has also announced his early retirement. His last day is the 27th of this month. He's been there 27 years. So the victim gets the body camera. There should be more than an hour of footage. There's only about 12 minutes. And it's not just 12 minutes in a row. It's a minute and a half here, 4 minutes there. There's 6 very short videos, all in different times throughout the accident investigation. So when asked about that, Chief Hutto said that Officer Dickinson advised that the battery had died. But I said, Chief, though, when he pulled up, it would have been about 5:11 p.m. The accident happened at Tyndall Parkway, rush hour traffic. The 911 call was made by the witness at 5:03 p.m. So just a few minutes later, Officer Dickinson arrives. His badge cam, there's no badge cam video until about 3 or 4 minutes later, and then it turns on. The battery it turns on. And there's 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, and it turns off again. Now, when his battery dies, when Officer Dickinson's battery dies, Officer Dickinson pushes a button on the badge cam is when the battery dies. Okay, so we've got old badge cams that the battery dies, but it intermittently keeps going throughout the next hour and a half or so. And when it goes off and dies, there's a button pushed. Crazier things have happened. But one thing that Chief Hutto and I were talking about was, y'all need new badge cams. If they're 5, 6, 7 years old, he said, yeah, but the mayor just won't give us any money in the budget to buy new body cameras. I said, well, how many officers do you have? Well, we've only got 3 now because they all quit this month or last month. So how many would it be nice to have about 8 of them, something like that. They usually have like 7 officers. I said, Chief, these badge cams are like $150, $200. He said, yeah, it'd be about $1,400 to get brand new badge cameras. I said, that seems like a pretty big priority. And the police chief said, yeah, but the mayor won't give us the money. So I think I'm going to go to a meeting and tell the mayor, fork over $1,400, Mayor. The officers need badge cams that stay on. And also, I was thinking about it after I hung up with the chief. Chief, it seems to me that whatever your budget is, I think it's $1.3 million. man, you might want to just like take $1,400 or raise $1,400 and get some badge cams that work, right? Doesn't seem like that big a deal. Even I could solve that problem. So the badge cam issue, the victim doesn't have all the video, but she does have video that shows several witnesses saying that the driver of the truck, the 18-year-old young lady who was Sheriff Ford's Cadet of the Year, they all said that she fled the scene. But Chief Hutto told me on the phone, he said, Bernie, how was she going to get back? She was chased away from the scene by some witness, chased her. And you don't have an obligation to pull over if someone's chasing you down the road. I said, really? Who told you that, Chief? She did. The 18-year-old young lady told me she was chased out of there. She had to go down the road, pull into a parking lot, finally go through all the stuff, get in front of what is it called? Now I forgot. Planet Fitness, and finally park and not call 911. I said, oh. I said, but the witnesses, there were 3 different witnesses who all said that there was no car chasing her, that she just fled the scene. Why are you treating the 18-year-old young lady's word who caused the crash like she's an officer of the court? When is it good police work to tell all the witnesses they're wrong, and the 18-year-old who causes the accident, that's the gospel truth? And he says, well, we don't have any evidence that it didn't happen. You know, I mean, I said, you might want to find it, Chief, because I do. I said, have you seen the crash, the actual crash? A video from the intersection of the crash? No, you haven't seen the crash? Well, there's no video. I don't know where to get the video. I said, Chief, I got the video. And here's what I know, even though, the shadow knows, if I can get it, you can get it. Right? Don't you think? So, he's looking into that because I said, and I did say this, I said, Chief, listen, I haven't heard anybody say anything bad about you. In fact, everybody I've talked to really likes you. They say you're a good guy and you've done a good job there for 27 years. And if you keep telling people that the young lady who caused the crash was chased and somebody was on her butt, and a video comes out later that shows that's not true, I don't want to embarrass you. Yeah, but Bernie, with the person that chased her out of there to the other place that the young lady went, that person was screaming at her. I said, Chief, who told you that? She did. I said, have you heard the 911 call? No. Chief, you haven't heard the 911 call? No. Because the good citizen that followed her called 911 and was very calm and very nice to that girl, to the young lady who caused the crash. Very nice. In fact, I couldn't imagine a better 911 call or a kinder 20-some-year-old witness. So what's really bad here, I told the chief, what's really bad is that you all are painting the driver who's the victim as a crazy lady, because I've heard that. You're claiming that the young lady who caused the crash was chased out of there and screamed at by another crazy lady, because what I've learned in Bay County is they'd send half the women to Chattahoochee if they could. And I said, Chief, you've got a good citizen who's a victim of a crash and another good citizen who called 911. And y'all need to stop vilifying these people, because evidence exists that will prove you're wrong. As a matter of fact, the young lady who caused the crash, Sheriff Ford's Cadet of the Year, lied to the police. She was not chased out of there. And there's proof of it. Now, I'll tell you one more thing. I checked and I haven't done this enough, but I checked my Facebook messages a few days ago, and the young lady reached out to me. And I don't say her name because I don't want It's hard to be 18. She ought to have consequences. I don't want her going to jail. I just want consequences, you know? I don't want an 18-year-old girl, the darling of Sheriff Ford, to go to trooper school thinking she can lie to the police and they'll cover it up for her and hit and run and not call 911. This is grooming bad behavior. And I'm afraid they're trying to own this girl down the road, which is what happens around here. So that's why I don't say her name. But yeah, she reached out to me and she said, I don't know, it was after a Friday show more than a week ago. And she said, basically just one sentence. She said, very politely, if you want to, something like, there are 3 sides to the story. And before you talk bad on the police, I would like to talk with you. So I see this message like 4 days later. And I reply, I said, here's my number. Would you like to call me? And she replied quickly. The young lady, she said, oh, no, never mind. I didn't know you were just a talk show. Have a great afternoon. So when she found out I was just a talk show, she had no more interest in talking to me about it. And that it's smart not to, probably, but because again, I'm not even mad at her. I'm mad at the people grooming her. I'm mad at the people vilifying good citizens. I'm not happy about all the excuses about body cams, about not seeing videos and taking the word of an 18-year-old girl who caused the crash like she's an officer of the court and saying all the witnesses are so wrong that we didn't even file the witness statements. I mean, that's bullshit. So anyway, that's the latest on Parker. I'm going to get out of here. I want to thank, of course, the Unknown Patriot. Thank you for your support. And to all of you who throw a tip in the tip jar, as little as $5 a month at Patreon, patreon.com/Bernie Thompson. That's where you can do that. God, it helps. Crowdfunding helps me do this. Patreon.com/Bernie Thompson. It is easy. It's anonymous. And you can quit at any time. All right. With that, I'm going to wrap it up and get out of here, and I will see you soon.